Namaste, Jai Bharat. Bharat is a nation with unimaginably long history, and Bharat has something which many others don't have, and that is our time-tested, very ancient knowledge tradition. These things don't just happen out of the blue. It has its own stage setting, preparedness, and tremendously powerful minds behind it. If you look at Bharat today, whenever there had been coercion on Bharat, whenever the people used to put pressure on Bharat for various reasons, we have always withstood the pressure, and not only just withstanding pressure, but also surviving by making ourselves much more formidable than pressure can make pressure upon us. You take the case of supercomputers long back. No one was willing to give us supercomputers, we made our own. Then comes cryogenic engines, and look at that. Then during the Kargil conflict, we wanted US to give us GPS to find out the movements of Pakistani terrorists into our border, and then they blatantly refused. We made our own GPS system, global positioning system. We made our own satellites to function in that manner. Similarly, the more you push Bharat, the stronger Bharat becomes. This lesson nobody has taken, and the pressure continues. The worst in time, the worst in recent time, is from the United States and Donald Trump. Donald Trump has nothing particularly against Bharat, but he wants to conquer the market of Bharat, which is not quite possible, because he doesn't care for the sovereignty of many other nations, and others are all revolting. Look at this. Someone sets an example, there will be many people to follow. Bharat said there is no question of surrendering our sovereignty, not just because of its will of the people of this nation. Of course, against that no government can go. No democratically elected government can go. And upon nationalism, our present government is a nationalist government. These things they will never dream of doing it, no matter come what may. So whatever the Trump's talks, in whichever directions, whatever pressure he thinks of putting it, we will learn to live with that. If it comes worst, if worst comes to worst, we will learn to live with that. But the question of surrendering our identity and sovereignty is never doubted. We will not in capital letters. That's the situation. But then what we see today is other nations who were also similarly under pressure by Trump alone are increasingly distancing themselves from the pressure of Trump. I'm not telling that they're distancing themselves from USA. We are also not distancing ourselves from USA. We don't treat Americans as our enemies. We still do treat Americans as our friends officially and even unofficially with the people's attitude. We have nothing against the people of America at all. Similarly, we have nothing against the people of China at all. But a particular governance, in case of US, it's temporary for the period of the elected president. If we have certain differences, and that's it. That's because it's created by him, because of his over ambition to dominate the world. Now, this is just a dream. Napoleon had dreamed and he spent his life in St. Helena. People forced him to do that, and he died a miserable death. And there are people, there have been dictators in the world. When Alexander had to die at younger days, not because of his dominating character, because of several other reasons. He had ventured in the areas where unfamiliar areas, and then we found it difficult to survive. Lot of such things in front of us. Now look, what happens today is simple. The pressure from Trump, I will say Trump, not just United States, and his associates obviously included, makes China soft to Bharat. Actually, China and Bharat do not have any serious difference at all. We have minor border disputes, and both were strong on our borders, and that's the only reason why we can't go together. And of course, we have a feeling that China can't be trusted, but we have a more stronger feeling that US can never be trusted. Such things don't exist in geopolitics, one may say, but such things do exist in geopolitics. I will speak about two nations who can be trusted from our side, and we do trust them. One is Israel, another one is Russia. We trust them completely because they never let us down when we are in need of things, and we vice versa. What we can do, we will definitely do without even asking for more than once. That's a kind of trustworthiness, not for mutual trade, mutual benefits, mutual material benefits. That's a different level of understanding. That's a different level of emotional feelings, of oneness with the others. My Prime Minister has very clearly told that recently that we are not trying to distance ourselves from others. We are not, when we say we are not involved with in anything, that doesn't mean that we maintain an equal distance from everyone, but on the contrary, we maintain equal closeness with everyone. That makes a lot of difference. That really do make a lot of difference. We are close to everyone at the same way. And reciprocation is simply up to you. If you reciprocate, the closeness will become intense. We become immediately friendly. And if it doesn't, it's not reciprocated, the closeness remains, but it won't be functional. That's the only difference. For a functional closeness, there must be reciprocation from the other side. Otherwise, you cannot go and give a lecture to the waves of the sea. People must have done it in the past, those who would practice talks. So this is the situation in Bharat. As a result, what happens? China gets more soft to Bharat. Though we don't have any serious differences, that's there. It's only skirmish, petty differences which can be easily solved. And Brazil tries to see things, saw things. They are taking a stand. Many nations are like that, taking a stand. And BRICS, which was not very functional in the past, is getting stronger. BRICS may go up to the UPA kind of money exchange. US wants the American dollar to dominate, but then slowly that domination will vanish. I wouldn't like to purchase dollar to purchase something else. It's obviously for any self-respecting nation. We wouldn't like to purchase something, a dollar from the US to purchase something from, for instance, United Arab Emirates, or a good friendly country to us, belongs to the Eastern world. Why should we buy your money to buy something from my neighbor? That's a common sense logic. So BRICS might go for some other transaction in lieu of dollar, in place of dollar, and such things would spread in the world because no self-respecting society, in capital letters, no self-respecting society would like to be dominated especially by a bully whose whims and fancies gets dictated on their head, gets dictated on them, and they're forced to succumb to such pressure. And once they find they are not the only ones, there are others, they will definitely join hands. And see, US is powerful. Maybe US is the most powerful nation in the world, but they can fight India, maybe, they can fight China, maybe, they can even fight Russia, maybe, but they cannot fight everyone at the same time. When others are joining hands, you become nothing. Your might, your power, people don't like such attitude of anyone. No nations will like, no people will like. Look at Trump, he becomes most unliked leader in the world today. I don't know about inside Americans. Inside Americans would soon start disliking him because of the inflation and price rise in their country and the stock market collapse. He thought he can pressurize people to agree to him. That is absolutely a wrong strategy with stronger nations. Stronger means spiritually stronger nations, internal stronger nations. And of course, such people will slowly emerge as economically stronger as well. This is not going to work out anymore. Possibly BRICS is attracting more members of late. I'm not going into the details. Must be available in the news. BRICS is attracting more nations because people who are helpless at the wrath, I'm using the word wrath because it's a word biblical. Wrath of God is a biblical word. That such wrath concept is not with Hindus. Our gods are not wrathful gods. They are only angry to the enemies of Dharma. They are only angry with they're hardly angry. They perform their Dharma in a detached manner. Even destruction is done in a detached manner. There is no personal involvement. That's the kind of gods we have. So because of his wrath, people are afraid, and once they see there are many others who are subject to such insult, humiliation and wrath, they get hands together. They take refuge. They take refuge in stronger people or similarly suffering people, and that slowly can emerge as an understanding group. They may not have a union, but they'll have some understanding. When common threat emerges, people stand together. Now, Trump is a common threat to the trading world. Trade has been destroyed in the entire world. Market has been destroyed. Share bazaar has been destroyed. Many nations will have their economic growth arrested, and America itself is in deeper trouble. In deeper trouble. China would stop sending their minerals, their natural resources, their minerals and such things which they need for everything. Then you suffer. Then suddenly there is a vacuum, void. And don't say like Bharat. Bharat can say that we will make things of our own. We can say we need time, little time, and we get it done very fast. But America cannot say this because the cost of production in America they themselves can't bear. So they will have to buy from others. America don't make anything practically except gunpowder and fire. They are hard to buy from China. They are hard to buy from Bharat. They are hard to buy from many other nations for their survival, and they get it cheap. They can't start manufacturing in their own state because that becomes too expensive for they themselves to buy it and use it. With this situation, they should have been thoughtful of antagonizing people who were not unfriendly to them. People actually were friendly to them. They had relations with US. We had relations with US for so many years. It's an old story of Bharat-US relations, though inside our minds we know these are the group of people whom you cannot trust. That is true. We can't trust US, and we knew that they are not trustworthy. Like Pakistan, we knew that they are not trustworthy always. So we'll keep a distance from them. But with US knowing fully well that they are untrustworthy, we kept our relations. We kept our trade water relations. Our people going to. Now, you are explicitly coming against the sovereignty and national interest of my nation. There will be a situation where you compel us to grow. Under such circumstances, Bharat had already grown. Bharat had always become strengthened. More, we move from strength to strength. Strength to strength as the Rigveda itself concludes. We will move from strength to strength. We know there are black sheep in our society. There are black sheep whom you pay. There are people whom you pay to sing your tune. There are people. But then we should know how to deal with them. They are people from our land. There are black sheep whom the deep state pays and makes them speak makes them create insurgencies. There are people in our nation, Bharat, who dreams of making a coup d'etat, similar kind of movement as they revealed in Bangladesh. They performed in Bangladesh. Somebody wants to do that in Bharat. They're dreaming it, but then you just can't understand the geopolitics of Bharat, the mindset of people of Bharat. You just can't take the entire nation for a ride. There will always be people who understand your intentions. There will always be decisions. In fact, last elections, the deep state and the allies in Bharat who were the black sheeps, they tried their best to overthrow Modi government, and they succeeded greatly because look at the majority, what we expected and what has come. We would have had absolute majority if the deep state did not pay money and became so active through multiple manner. Is it whether it is Citizen Amendment Act agitation or the farmers agitation or all kinds of such agitations. Now the Manipur agitation, the Northeast agitation, and they create some agitations in the South. Somebody there wants to make a separate identity of South Indians. All these things are catalyzed and promoted by the deep states to weaken Bharat, and there are people playing into it by taking money. That's what I'm telling you. There are traitors within us. There are black sheep within us. In spite of their vivacity, strength, and vivid activities, the people in general wouldn't take it for granted. People know to a great extent who these people are. And of course, they may not know immediately that who are the people behind it, but we also have media. People have been told, they understand who are behind it. Whether they can instantly believe it or not is second question. They might believe it through experience, not a priori. They may not a priori believe the stories of deep state, but then a posterior is right in front of them. So we shall meet again with some other thought. Till then, Namaste, Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.